Hey, Sumit. I am really excited to learn all about the new intelligent assessment feature in Turbot Guardrails. You going to take us through a little bit of a tour and tell us all about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's time that we dive deep into AI. So AI has taken the world by storm, I think, and it's time that we harness the power of AI and bring AI to guardrails. So one of the capabilities that we have added this time around is intelligent assessment controls. What that means is you can check resource compliance using natural language. This is a bit different from the standard guardrails that we support in guardrails. So, for example, a standard guardrail can include, hey, check my public access settings for a bucket. And that would say you can check or enforce settings on a bucket. Um, you can use calc policies behind the scenes, which becomes quite complex. You have to use complex nunjucks, complex template rendering. You should know template rendering better. And yeah, just that was standard guardrails. But coming to intelligent assessments, you can just check any resource compliance, any security measures using natural language. This is where the difference comes in. This is where the free-form text comes in picture, and this helps you configure a lot of different things, multiple things for a resource in your cloud. Yeah.
Excellent. So how do we use it?
To use AI capabilities in guardrails, you'd first have to configure AI in guardrails. Yeah. So that would mean is which provider you'd want to use, what is your API key, just bring your API key, and what model of that AI provider you'd want to use. Yeah. So the first one is set the provider here. It could be Anthropic or OpenAI. I've set it to Anthropic for now, and
Okay.
then I'll bring my own API key from Anthropic and then set it in the API key policy. And the third one is the model that you would want to use. This is slightly important because we've tested with a bunch of models here, starting with Claude 3.7 and OpenAI 4.0 and 4.1. But if you would want to use lower models, which are cheaper, that would mean a trade-off in the responses that we get from the AI directly. So we've tested with a lot of different models, standard models that people use today, a bit expensive models as well, and we've got decent results across things. So I've set the model right now to Claude 3.7, which is very decent. Um, okay. Once we have set everything, you can see different settings here as well. So we've temperature, we have max tokens. These are all set by default, so I don't need to get into it and then change it. But if you want, you can change it.
Lots of
There's one
flexibility.
policy. There's one more policy enabled. This is important. If you want to enable AI capabilities in guardrails, this is what you do. You enable it. If you see this, it's the default policy. So all capabilities AI related in guardrails will now be enabled in your workspace. So I've gone ahead and set it to enabled at the root level. All right. Having said that, let's jump right into intelligent assessment. Okay. So the first thing that you'd see or you'd try to do is, hey, you talked about freeform language, natural language. How do I set it? So you just set the user prompt. For example, I have this on the S3 bucket. So intelligent assessment user prompt policy. This is a standard policy that you might have seen or used before with different controls in the background. So user prompt, what we do is along with the user prompt, there are two things behind the scenes that combine, and then we get the output from the AI. So user prompt is what you give. We also have a system prompt and the entire resource context, which are preset by default. You can change it if you'd want to, but these would work just as well with the user prompt that you have. So the example that you see here, the first and a very basic and a simple example that you see here is, hey, is my versioning enabled in my bucket? What I do is I've already set the setting, but I can just show it how to mention it. Just mention check if versioning is enabled. Or what you can do is just change your language. Bucket versioning must be enabled. And this would also work.
Okay.
Once I update this, and then check my controls, let me refresh. What I would see is all my buckets, they have been evaluated with their own resource context, with their own system prompts behind the scenes that are set by default. And you see uh, the responses for each of them. The first one says the versioning is suspended. And if I go way down, we have some okay ones as well, which says the versioning is enabled as expected. This is one of the example. Let me dive a bit deeper into one of the more complex ones. The second one that I would check is a multi-check sort of. So what I can do is, along with checking versioning is enabled or not, I can also check if multi-factor delete is configured on the bucket. So I'll just go back to my setting, change this to have 2 checks for the bucket, and then update, wait for the controls to rerun. Awesome. Now you see the state reason has changed. It says, hey, the bucket versioning is suspended, but multi-factor delete is not configured as well.
Mm.
And this happens across all my buckets. Okay, let's get into something more complex. I want to check if my bucket versioning is enabled, but I only care about multi-factor delete if my bucket has a tag called data classification. Sounds very complex. If you'd want to use it via calc policies, it would be, you'd have to know complex GraphQL inputs and nunjucks too. Let's do it via freeform text. Uh, Let me go back. Let's change the setting.
Mhm.
So what I've just done is check if versioning is enabled and multi-factor delete is configured when data classification restricted tag is present. Otherwise, you just don't care about multi-factor delete, only care about versioning is enabled or not. Let me update the setting. So I've updated the user prompt. The controls will run in the background. I'll refresh, and there it is. So you can see now it is also checking if my tag is present. If the tag is present, it checks multi-factor delete. Otherwise, it only checks for versioning enabled. I can go to all the buckets and check the statuses, but this is how simple it is. Just to you could do simple policies, you can do multi policies, you can do conditional policies, um, and this is just not restricted to some requirements. It is for anything that you'd want to test and see in your workspace for your cloud resources.
This is really great. It really helps us have kind of nuanced governance as we're approaching it, and I love how it gives insights into why a bucket is passing, you're understanding why, which is really great. Again, because most of the time we don't have simple requirements.
Yeah,
So being able to flex and adapt to what our organization needs. This is really awesome, Sumit. What a great new feature. Thanks for sharing it with us today. I hope everybody gives us a good try and let us know in the community what you're doing with guardrails with this exciting new feature.
sure. Yeah. Thanks. This was awesome.
Thanks for watching. If you're interested in this new feature, please reach out to us at turbot.com/start.